Shit. Okay. 43 seconds, we're good. Forty-three seconds, we're good. Shit. Made a mistake. Okay, so now I have to change skin. Come on, dude. And I missed it. I missed it. Did I miss it? I missed it. Oh no, I'm not able to do this tournament. No. Please, dude. Please. No, I'm not able to do the tournament. I'm a dumbass. I'm not able to because... Yep, we just quit. Okay, it's not a big deal. It's shitty, but it's not a big deal. It's my fault for always waiting until the last seconds. Doo-doo. Good. Today is Wednesday. Okay, that's not a big deal. Okay. Be mature. I'm pissed because I was seconds away from. Anyway, c'est la vie. That's life. Let's go. You want to work? Let's work.
क्या हो? Alô, uma batina dela. Tá banana, tá bagi.
Nada enregistré sesuatu.
I'm Peter Parker.
Mega kill. Ultra kill. Monster kill.
Oh. Don't blink, it's your boy Ink. Welcome to our show. Because they're having a wonderful day on this 9th June, 9 June, 5th June 2025. I am exhausted, but I want to make a couple of videos, so without further ado, we'll do it. I wanted to make a couple of videos, I want to upload a couple of videos, so we'll be working really hard behind the scene, and it'll be fucking fun to see. So without further ado, let's get into it. Don't blink, it's your brain. Welcome to our show. It's doing well because I'm having a wonderful day on this 5th June 2025. Hair don't care, guys. We've been busy. I didn't even have time to do the tower today. The tower tournament. So instead, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna be filming the nature corn. I'm gonna be doing a couple of videos. It should be nice because it's nicer outside. We shouldn't have any problem with the overheating of the phone. Don't blink, it's your blink. Welcome to our show. Because I'm doing well because I'm having a wonderful day on this 5th June 2025. We had a really busy day. Went to my mom, had to fix the phone. We did a lot of cleanup, so it was really nice. Now what we're gonna do is we're gonna do another video. We're gonna be talking about why Kenny versus Penny. So technically speaking, this is a video that I did already 3-4 times on why Kenny Hotz, which is Kenny vs. Penny, was one of my role model. But since we're starting to restart recapping the show, I really wanted to once again tell you how much the show meant to me. Since it's pretty late, I had a rough day today. Went with my mom, went to give out some application, then went to see my mom. Then the phone got, again, I'm repeating myself, but the phone broke. I had to fix it, so I don't feel like making a TikTok live, so I'm going to be doing this. I'm going to be eating. It's going to be a mukbang. If you don't know what's a mukbang, it's a video where people talk and eat. Today we're having New York fries poutine. It is the queso nachos poutine. It is really nice. One of my favorites. What more Canadian poutine? You tell me. Maple syrup, possibly. Tim Horton, possibly. We have a little monster because it goes down the hatch. So without further ado, let's go. So first of all, it's a mustard, Joe Sugar, Strawberry Dream. Actually pretty good. So first of all, let's start with the very beginning. So in the beginning there was a man, in the very beginning, okay, so my story with Kenny vs. Penny, it sucks because it's a video that I already did. But I need to make this video at the same time because since we're recapping into it, this is a proper intro to a playlist. I'm going to be recapping from memory. So, recapping from memories, I'm going to go in Season 1, Season 2, Season 3, Season 4, Season 5, Season 6 from memory. So I didn't watch the show in more than a year. Season 1, I'm going to go a bit more of a rapid bullet fire. So, not super fast, but not super slow. So I mentioned this before. Kenny vs. Penny. Yes, I eat poutine with a fork. Do something about it. Kenny vs. Penny was not on my radar. So it's a cool story. My mom and my father separated when I was 6. This is how far this goes. When I was 6, so I go to my mom's house, and my mom's house, my mom is bilingual. My father is French Canadian. It's like, okay, well, we need to protect French. We need to protect French. We need to protect French. So there's not so a little ants. Now I'm not collecting ants. However, we have an ant hill. I didn't catch it. We have a ant hill that I would like to do. So I go to my mom's house. My father, again, protecting French. So every single show that we have is French. My mom, bless her heart, most of the show that she has is in English. She does have one channel that I kind of like, that is in French, which is Silly Toon. If you were one of the 90s kids, which is possibly most of the people that grew up watching Kenny vs. Penny, this was something that you watch. So Silly Toon was super funny. It was a great show, like Carl, Squared Carl, Andy Larkin with Liar Liar. What other show? Total Drama Island, which was phenomenal. A bunch of shows. 16. I gotta forget 16. Ben 10. A lot of show that was really, really, really cool in the 90s. However, once I reached the age of 12, see, my mom was always, you know how moms are. My mom was always, this is my baby boy. And at that age, I'm different. At that age, I'm listening to Eminem. I'm listening to 8 Mile. I'm a big gangster. So I'm like, okay, well, fuck that. I'm not gonna be watching your kid shit. So I'm looking for something else. The problem that I have is every single channel is in English. Now, it's a good problem, it's a bad problem. So the good problem is I have a general understanding of English. So even though I don't understand all of what's going on, I can understand the situation. So I found, and that's a funny thing. This is a circumstances. There was no shot for me to watch Trailer Park Boys. There was no shot for me to watch Kenny vs. Penny, because by the time that I learned English, which I was 18, was in 2015. 2000. I'm not good at math, but it was 2020. No. 2013, I was 20. 2013, I'm 20. 2011, I'm 18. So by 2011, Trailer Park Boy is not going on anymore. Kenny vs. Penny, I think, is still going on. So I live far. I usually live in DDO, in Lachine, which is the city we're living in right now. That's what you're saying. Look at this, guys. There's a flock of geese coming in. It's actually quite cool. You gotta see it. Look at this. It's like, huh? So then, we're going all the way to DDO. We're going there every Friday to Sunday. There is a huge amount of traffic. By the time we're there, it is 5 o'clock, 5:30, 5:45. I take a quick shower, I eat, go to watch TV. And I fell upon Trailer Park Boy. Now, I fell in love with Trailer Park Boys. Why? Well, the truth is, I fell in love with Showcase. So, I'm 12 years old, right? And your hormones are starting to really release. Maybe too much information, but I don't give a fuck. I'm not in the best of mood, so fuck it. And your hormones are not in the best of, and you don't know how to control it. And my father, again, I'm spending 12 days at my father's house and 2 days at my mom's house. It's so crazy. I should never tell you the story, but I'm going to tell you, I don't care. I had these small iPod Touch, which were about a bit smaller, a lot thinner. I had a couple of porn picture on there. It was shitty, but it did the job. At my mom's house, I had Showcase every single Friday. Showcase would go off the air. I will do like a special Naughty Friday. Showcase was the shit. So then, they do this thing on Friday, and I watch it. And I'm so bored that I leave it on Showcase. I should hear Park Boys. No. Put it in my shoes. I don't speak English, I don't speak French. Well, I speak French, thank God. I don't speak French. I see Ricky and Julian swearing like fucking truckers. And I see Bubbles with his glasses talking funny. I was intrigued. Long story short, we spent 3 years watching Trailer Park Boys, not understanding one thing. Now, what happened is, Kenny vs. Penny comes in. I hated the show. I hated it. The first episode that I watched was the first one to get a stain, which sucks. But ultimately speaking, I hated Kenny vs. Penny because I would, like I said, every 2 weeks, I would go to my mom's house on Friday, right? So except for the summer, I would only get 2 episodes of Trailer Park Boys. And that was my dose for 2 weeks. But then no, because Trailer Park Boys was a 6 to 7. It was one episode at 6 and one episode at 7. But then they changed it. They changed it to Trailer Park Boys 6 to 6:30, and Kenny vs. Penny, which was 7 o'clock. No, 6:30 to 7. So I hate it. A longer story shorter, years passes, and I still love Trailer Park Boys. We end up having, and this was late. I was 18 actually, because I was getting kicked out. We finally get the Wi-Fi. The first thing I do was, and this is, please trust me, this is entirely true. I know it's been almost 14 years, but this is still the case. I still remember. I go in and I watch Trailer Park Boys on YouTube, because back then YouTube didn't have as much copyrights. It was a lot better. So I watched season 1 to 7. When I'm done with Trailer Park Boys, I watch it again. Oh shit! It's too hot. It's okay. So we're gonna be good with the temperature. We're not. So I go in once again, and I'm like, okay, well, fuck it. Let's see what we can do. And I watched it. And even though I'm tired of it, I watch it because you have to put yourself in my shoes. I'm a little guy that is growing up in a okay, so this is more so a me problem than a real problem, but it's a me problem. I'm a small guy that grew up in a house where everything was French, right? And it was kind of forced upon me. And learning English was a choice. French was imposed. You're in my house, you don't speak English. So whenever I can rebel, and my rebellious teenage years was learning English. Like, fuck the system, fuck community, I'm gonna be speaking English. So I watched Trailer Park Boys. Now, what happened, which is the best thing ever, is that my algorithm is tailored for Trailer Park Boys. Then they start showing up Kenny vs. Penny. And I was like, oh, I fucking hate that show. But I give it a shot. And the first episode that I watched at the second one was I think honestly it was the first one to get a boner loses. And I love that show so much because it was crazy. It felt, Kenny vs. Penny felt, we're gonna get more into it, but it felt like reality TV, which was insane. Right? So I watched one episode. The second one that I watched, I don't remember what it was, to be honest. And I watched a third one, and I watched a fourth one. I swear to God, I'm watching for the first time Kenny vs. Penny, and actually watching it, and actually understanding it. I think one of the first that I watched was, who can have a goat tied to their leg the longest? Which is crazy. And then I was like, okay, well, I watched the whole thing in one weekend, and I don't remember laughing so hard. I laughed to tears in the episode of Who Can, when Kenny calls Penny the worm. Kneel before me, worm. But then we have a problem. Why do I like Kenny versus Penny so much? Now I'm more mature. I'm 32 years old. I grew up out of my Kenny versus Penny era because I was obsessed with that show. See, Kenny versus Penny was a life-changing show for me. Trailer Park Boy is one of my favorite shows, but if I'm being completely honest, it's not a life-changing show. It didn't change the way I see things. It didn't change my life. It's a great show. I love it, but it didn't change my life. Kenny vs. Penny completely did. So at first, I hate Kenny. And I think a lot of us hated Kenny in the beginning. He's a cheater, he's a scumbag, but he's funny. So I laughed a couple times, but at the end I'm like, he didn't deserve to win, he cheated. And then I started watching, and the classic thing that it has was Penny. And Penny complained, and Penny gave up. And I'm like, yeah, Kenny lost, but Penny didn't even compete. Penny gave up. So even if Kenny didn't win, even if Kenny cheated, he won by default. Then I started watching the show, and my mood completely shifted. I, who am supposed to be, I'm a kid. Okay, so that's not true. I'm not a kid. I'm 17 years old. But at heart, I'm a kid. The most outrageous show that I watched was Jersey Shore. You know, I'm still very naive, still very sheltered by parents. Very, very sheltered. My mom, she saw me watch Trailer Park Boys, and she was like, this is, I can't believe they put these show at these times. So, I start watching Kenny vs. Penny religiously. And it's just a show that's different because, technically speaking, okay, so I'm gonna be completely honest. Kenny vs. Penny is 88 episode of completely different. I was super lucky because by the time I watched it, the series was done. There was 88 episode from Who Can Win the Most Weight to Who Do Black Guy Like the Most Part 2. Which is the last episode of the last season, season 6. I don't remember. I'll be completely honest. I don't remember if the last episode is Who Do Black Guys Like Better. I think I'm 90% sure it is, but I'm 10% thinking that it's the first one to leave the island loses, right? And I got super lucky. I got super lucky because I didn't watch season 1 right away, right? So I'll be completely honest. Kenny, well, I don't remember perfectly, but I don't think he put this season, or even then, because it wasn't a show with a narrative, like, even if I watch the show out of order, it doesn't really matter. Oh, fuck, I messed up. So it doesn't really matter. So I'm like, okay, I'm gonna watch this episode. For example, title like, Who Can Touch the Most Breasts? I was like in love with that. Who could smoke more weed when weed was illegal? I was in love with that. But shows, and that was the beauty of Kenny vs. Penny. We'll get into that later on, but shows like the last episode that I watched, and this is a true story. The last episode that I watched was Who Can Keep a... No. I don't remember if it was Who Can Keep a Chicken Coop on Their Head, who can win a rat race. And two are the best episodes ever. So I go in, and the shift came up, and I'm like, yes, Penny is... In my life, I never had that. And to this, I have to go to the bathroom, I'm so sorry. Fuck it. In my life, I never had that. I still never had this. So I'm rooting for Penny because he's the person to root for. But then I end up rooting for Kenny because I'm like, for the first time in my life, I'm like, I don't really care about who's righteous here. I just want to be entertained. And Kenny is entertained. And the thing is with Kenny was a very special character. Kenny was the guy that you're supposed to hate, but was so charismatic that it didn't matter. Kenny was the guy that was okay, we're good for the last card. Kenny was supposed to be the guy that you liked the least. However, he was the most entertaining. You came back to watch the show, and before you realized that you were watching it for Kenny. And I'm like, holy shit! I am listening to it for Kenny. Is that normal? Oops. Now, ultimately, yes, this is super normal. I'm playing the tower on both. So I'm possibly going to be doing Alfred Jen, maybe. I would do Plasma Cannon. Like Plasma Cannon sucks because it doesn't touch Elite. Let's do... Okay. Let's do Recovery Package Sets. Now at the bathroom. See, it was the first time where I stood for the bad guy. Kenny didn't feel like a bad guy. Penny did. And this was the weirdest thing. You see, Kenny vs. Penny is this magical show. This absolute magical show. Where you think you're going for the competition, but you're going for the people. Because at the end, it's two people competing. One of my favorite episodes is Who is the Better Soldier? And just the way Kenny acts in this one, it's crazy, but it gets into Penny's head. Or who can stay obese the longest? Again, it's a mind trick. And I learned so much from Kenny. See, and I'm not playing victim. I was the smallest kid in my class. I wasn't the smartest. I wasn't the strongest. I wasn't the most athletic. I was able to talk. I had a good mouth. But that was pretty much all I had for me. See, Kenny, this is crazy. I was living in this is really bad. I was living in a house where it was too strict. And I was going to school, and I was not really picked on, but not really respected. I was, fuck. I was a nice kid. I was the quiet, well, not really, but I was the calm kid. Oh, well, how can I not be calm? I was fucking hooked on Concerta, Ritalin, and ADHD medication. I was a kid where I was nice and I knew everybody. I would come into the corridor and I would know your name. People came up to me and say, hey, how are you? I was popular as fuck. But those weren't my friends. They were just people that wanted to be seen with me, or people that were just like, hey, I know this fucking guy. This guy is super popular and I know him. But nobody was my friend, right? And then with my parents, they were too strict. My mom was super mama bear, and I need to take care of you. My mom, she wanted to feed me until I was like 10, 12, which is crazy. My father, who was very strict, is like, my father is an extreme model of weird parenting. My father is the type. My father was very weird growing up, and he's the one that raised me. 12 days out of 14. My father is a classical sense, is the classical guy that's gonna say, hey, you fell. Here's why you fell. This is how you don't fail, right? You fall on the ground. Oh, you fell, get back up. Get back up, right? And it was like, and he's pushing you, and he's pushing you until you're up. But he's pushing you until you're up, and he's pushing you so much that you don't want to get up because you're like, what the fuck is going on? Leave me alone, right? And my father also weird because he would catch me doing some things. For example, oh, I ate something I wasn't supposed to. I ate sugar, and they say, this is how I caught you. So it was constant surveillance and never trust. He used to constantly check my room. I remember oh man, this is a bad story. I was 18. So I lived at so at 18 my mom kicked me out. I lived with my mom for 4 months. She kicked me out. So I go back to my father's house. And at my father's house, at my mom's house, I spent 4 months eating whatever I wanted. Junk food. I gained a lot of weight. Because my mom, she's more easygoing than my father. And as long as I'm happy, she doesn't care if I'm fat. So then I come in, and my father's like, okay, well, you need to find a job, right? And I go in, and people, when I'm finding a job, they say, hey, you need to lose some weight. So long story short, I spent months in my apartment losing some weight. This is the best thing that ever happened to me. That period of time, those 7 months, I lost 50-something pounds. I was listening to YouTube. When I watched Kenny vs. Penny, it was during those 7 months. And I was just losing the weight. And I had a party that one night out of, so I spent 7 months in a room working out. I had a party one night out of 210 days, and they went to my room and they went to make sure that I didn't hide shit. That was the house I grew up in, So I watched the Trailer Park Boys because the Trailer Park Boys didn't take shit from anybody and were able to say fuck off, right? And I think I found a charm in the boys telling people to fuck off and being kind of like their own bosses and having their own rule and marching to the beat of their own drum, if I had to recap it. So I fell in love with that. Kenny in my mind was the best thing because Kenny wasn't the strongest. Kenny wasn't the smartest, wasn't the tallest, wasn't the strongest. He had a brain and he was deviant. Kenny was the first person to teach me one of the best lessons in life. And this lesson in life still holds clear to this day. It's not about I wanna verbalize it my way, but I also wanna verbalize it in Kenny's way. The important lesson that Kenny taught me, that's actually a really good question. If I had to only take one, that's a really good question. Holy shit. I would say be yourself, and fuck people who don't like who you are. Kenny became a god for me. And I know this is weird to say, but he became a god to me. Kenny was my role model. I started being deviant. I started lying a lot. I started manipulating a lot. And ultimately speaking, those years when I was manipulating a lot, I wasn't hurting people. I was doing it just for entertainment. I was telling white lies. I was manipulating into saying, like, for example, those two people at work, they fought, and I was like, oh, you should confront her. You shouldn't allow people to talk to you like that. So I started manipulating people, and I was playing with people's emotion, right? And again, most people were not smart enough to understand what I was doing, but some people caught on. But I guess I did it for a while, and it turned out really bad. But Kenny was a literal god. He came out with Triumph of the Will, which was phenomenal. He came up with his podcast. I would listen to religiously. I'm telling you, I was listening if there was 24 hours a day, and I was being awake for 15, with either Kenny Haas or Kenny vs. Penny. And it was always about getting my way. it wasn't about getting my way, but being conscious of, like, per example, right? Per example, okay, that's a really good example actually. I was living at my dad's house, and I have a stepmom, and me and my stepmom we never got along. So the problem with my stepmom was she didn't have authority because she wasn't my mom, so I never gave her authority. So the second that she saw that she didn't have authority, instead of trying to maintain or to establish, hey, I'm your fucking boss, I'm in charge here, don't fucking talk back to me. She was going to my father's house. She was going to my father and say, hey, he did this. So it was so fucking funny. My stepmom, and bless her, she didn't have a lot of choice. I was a shit. I was a little shit. I wasn't a shit in the sense of I was rebellious. I wasn't a shit in the sense of I was a bad kid. But I was a shit in the sense of I did whatever I want. I would lie to your face and I would say, yes, I understand. I would do the same thing right after. So my father, and it was so pathetic because that's the reason why I didn't get along with my stepmom was because of this exact thing. She would finish work at 3:30. I would finish school at 4. My father would finish work at 5 o'clock. So then I would come in, and for example, I didn't do the dishes, or for example, the house a mess, or for example, I ate something I wasn't supposed to. Why I keep bringing this example? Well, because I had ADHD, so I wasn't allowed sugar. That's simply it. And then my stepmom, she wouldn't say nothing. She wouldn't even say hi to me. Right? There's time where I was locked outside. My door, I didn't have my key, or the door was broken. It happened a couple of times. I would ring the door, and she wouldn't let me in. She was a bitch, but I was a dick too, so it's okay. So I come in, she would give me shit. And then when my father come in, he would say salut Stéphane, because my real name is Stéphane. Salut Stéphane, ça va bien? Oui papa, toi? Oui, ça va bien. He said, what did you learn in school? We had a good conversation. Too hot. Can't believe this is too hot. Can't believe this is what? Can't believe this is too hot. Now can't believe this is what? Can't believe this is too hot. I can't believe this is real. Oh, I wish I would, oh, I wish I could make you fucking for real. Oh, the phone is way too warm, and it kinda sucks.
Not with a lot of enjoyment, but that's okay.
Ouch. Okay, good. We're back. Sorry about this, guys. Dumpling Kiss You Wang, welcome to part 2 of Why Kenny vs. Penny. I am so sorry. We have a problem where the weather is too warm. So what I like to do, because I create content a lot, right? Creating content for a couple of years, I like to have different playthroughs. So and now we have 3 playthroughs of the same game. And it does heat up the phone. The weather outside is really warm, so it did overheat, which is normal. Like I was saying, my father and I would have good conversation, and he would talk to me. He would come to my room to talk to me and say, "Hey, how was your day?" and shit like that. And then she would talk to him, and then he was mad at me. So I knew she talked. And I was like, "If you had something to say, why don't you tell me? Why did you go to my father's house?" Now, the truth is, my father told her, "Hey, I'm raising him, so don't get involved." That I didn't know. But long story short, I would stay in my room, right? And I don't even know what I was going with that. But Kenny versus Penny, it was such a bad environment. I was like, I'm not gonna get away with my strength. And Kenny, I was looking for a lesson he taught me, and now I had a time to relax and think about it. And if Kenny taught me something, is survive. See, I was worshiping Kenny because it was so smart, but he was willing to go at places where nobody else went. One of my favorite episodes ever is "Who Can Catch a Bigger Fish?" One of the last episodes that I watched. And I got lucky because in the order that I watched them, it made sense. Why is that such a good episode? Because in this episode, he basically tell Spenny, "Hey, I'm gonna cheat. No matter what, I'm gonna cheat." And Spenny's like, "If you tell me you're gonna cheat, you're not gonna cheat." But he did cheat. And that was just the mind power that he had on him. Now, at the end of the show, the season 6 possibly is one of the weakest. They got kind of lazy, but it was such a show. And then that's on Kenny. But why did I like Kenny vs. Penny? Is once again, you start to watch the show because it's just so freaking good. It's just, how can I even put this in word? It's just something that never should have happened. The word that they use the faggot, they use retarded. There's a lot of racial joke. There's a lot of anti-Semitism joke. It's something that it shouldn't happen. It really shouldn't happen, you know? And it was a show, like Trailer Park Boys. They were talking about growing weed. But back when weed was illegal. So it's just places show that never should have happened. Like Kenny giving acid to Penny. Never should have happened. Never should have happened on TV, but this is recorded on TV. One of my favorite moments. And also, Kenny and this eternal knowledge that he bestowed upon me taught me something very important. And there's a moment that I want to actually, because to this day, I'm a fan of Kenny. I'm not a fan of Kenny as much as I used to be for simple reason. We'll get into it after that. But for now, there's moments like, for example, right? Who does she like the most? So technically, they have this date. They're supposed to date the same girl. Kenny takes a girl and it's like, yo, you're not even gonna date the girl. You have no chance. However, when he does date the girl, he's actually really treating her nice, and he's really nice to her, and he's really trying to seduce her. First of all, or another episode where he's like, who does old lady like more? Who do old people like more? So they got 3 old Jewish lady, and you see Kenny going to his mom and asking for help, but you also see Kenny hiring an actor which has Down syndrome. So, and the fact that he has a Down syndrome brother is like he has victory, but how he treat the Down syndrome brother, he treat him so nicely that it's you treat him so nicely that you're like, okay, well, I don't really give a fuck what happened, right? Because he was so nice to the guy, and the humiliation that Spenny did were always weird. So, for example, right? For example, places that Kenny went too far. I would say who can win a 10-mile race, but like his mother is dead, right? But at the same time, you didn't see Kenny vs. Penny, I believe, was a bit scripted. The show that I watched lately, I watched Who's the Better Rapper. This is clearly scripted. But it doesn't make sense. So, for example, it's Penny, and this is the I think Who's Gonna Win the 10-mile race is the picture perfect episode for Kenny vs. Penny. You got Kenny who pretend like his mom is dead, so he cannot run. And he has a funeral because Penny goes to the funeral. Kenny starts the race and actually race, right? But you have an episode where who's the strongest? Who Kenny has a younger sister called Miriam. Kenny has two siblings. He has his older brother and his younger sister Miriam. Kenny and I forgot his brother name. Ronnie Hotz. It's Safi Hotz. It is Ronnie Hotz. It is Kenny Hotz and his I just said her name, fucking Miriam Hotz. And we have Spenny. Spenny only has his mom, which is Corinne Nolan Rice. So in this episode, like for example, there's an episode where he's supposed to wrestle against the sister of Kenny, and then he makes a lot of research, like how much can you bench, and oh, she's doing steroids, and in this one, like, oh, your mother's dead, okay, I believe you, you know. So it just doesn't feel kind of real. Now the reason why I kind of not necessarily dislike, kind of. The reason why I'm not as worshipy towards the queen with sword. The reason why I'm not as worshipy with Kenny is actually really simple. So Kenny, in my opinion, Kenny had his prime. So Kenny, see, Kenny was okay with being the villain. There's clips of him. Kenny was fucking doing Adolf Hitler impression, you know, which is fucked up no matter how you look at it. Kenny was doing some red carpet and he was pants down. Look at my boxers. He didn't care. Kenny came out and said, "Oh well, I regret what I did back then. There's some action that I wouldn't have done today." And I'm like, dude, your whole purpose is the show. Your whole purpose was, I want to win. I want to win. I want to win. And the beauty of the show is that the beauty of the show is for Spenny, the winner of the competition is who wins the competition, and for Kenny, the winner doesn't do the humiliation. So you know that's the mentality. Kenny came out and said he was regretting what he did back then. Also, Kenny is in a really, really weird place where he's super successful. He has a couple of business. Yes, he's a father. He has a lovely wife, Aubrey. She's super cute. She's super uber cute. The problem with Kenny, my biggest problem with Kenny, and I'm gonna be honest, I'm kind of not necessarily pissed off at him, but he treats Kenny versus Penny as a cult, as a movie cult. He calls it like his magnum opium. It's his best piece of content. This is the best thing in reality TV. It got him where he went. He met Matt and Stone. He ended up on South Park, writing for South Park. And there's time where I feel like he's talking about it as in, I don't care. Or for example, he'll post it on YouTube, and he won't even put the season. I'm like, dude, this is your magnum opium. You treat it like it's your fucking 16 Chapel, but you don't really. And I understand the show is 20 years old, but this is your baby. You know, when you, and I don't want him to die, but when you want him, when Kenny's gonna be dead, what happened to Kenny versus Penny is gonna be different. But as for now, he has to protect it because it's his baby. And whatever he talks about it's like, oh my god, nothing is like this. This is the best show. And Kenny is very narcissistic, which fine. I don't mind. I don't think it matters. But he's very narcissistic in a way where this is what made you famous. Don't you want to protect it? Don't you want to? I feel like there's this disconnection, right? The disconnection. Lately, I haven't heard Kenny talk about Silence of the Will in such a long time. And I know this is nitpicky, and I know it's fucking stupid because who am I to say, oh, I don't like this character, who I don't like this guy. I do like Kenny, but Kenny is a person I worshipped. It's so funny because Kenny had a fascination for cults, and if there was a cult of Kenny, I would have been in it for sure. But it was the entire discography of Kenny, the entire discography of Kenny, in the sense of I watched the Papal Chase, which I thought was phenomenal. The Papal Chase was how far can you go with just sheer will? How far can you go with just a dream? Papal Chase felt to me like we're gonna go there and we're gonna do something. And it's about seeing the Pope. That's the only thing. And Kenny, as a Jew, seeing the Pope was really something. He disguised himself into Satan. It's really weird. You don't watch Papal Chase because it's good. You don't watch Papal Chase because you want to see Kenny meet the Pope. You watch Papal Chase because you see a young Kenny with a dream. One of my favorite pieces from Kenny vs. Penny is Pitch, which is the movie they did. Pitch is a brilliant piece of cinematic. I should be doing a review of Pitch. Because I'll do another video, I'll do a review of Pitch. Okay, so this is pretty much it. So now we're going to be starting with this. Fuck it, let's do it here. Who gives a shit? Anyway, Pitch, in my opinion, is the best kind of content there is. It's Kenny and Spenny. They both have this dream of making it big, right? And they have this dream, and they have the script, and it's how to sell your script. And now the cool thing that they did is they film people and giving their script, so they kind of put pressure on them, like, yo, people know that you got the clip. If this is a good movie, people will know that you're fumble. And they put people in the corner, and it's just about the dream, and it's just about Kenny trying to sell the script, Spenny trying to sell the script. It's about moving. It's about having no fucking money. It's about Kenny having his girlfriend over, and they're young, they're living the dream. One of my favorite moments in the Pitch is they come in and like, okay, well, there's this, and this is a brilliant movie because you know some of the script, but you don't know everything. So you come in and you're like, okay, well, guess what? We have this script to sell. Let's sell it. And then there's this I'm not gonna tell you what. I don't even remember what, but there's this really positive thing that happened, and then you see them running on the beach and smiling and laughing, and it just feels like a victory. Pitch isn't about a script. Pitch isn't about two broke dude. It's about two broke dude with a fucking dream, and the dream is Pitch. I'm pitching you a script, but I'm pitching you my dream. Give me my chance. Give me my opportunity. That is pretty much it. Anyway, we're gonna start with the review. That is pretty much it. Super excited. Yeah, fucking let's go. Don't blink, it's your boy Ink. Welcome to the Helicopter Show. You guys are doing well, you guys are having a wonderful day on this 5th June 2025. Today we're doing a Tower Talk. You guys have been asking for Tower Talk. I delivered Tower Talk. You want it, we got it. You want it, we got it. So Tower Talk of today is a great news. It's a bad news. We didn't make it to the tournament. This phone fell, and I had to stick the glue to it to make it work. So we took out the back of it. We took out the back, and yeah, that's pretty much it. Long story short, we had to glue the back because it fell. The camera disconnected. We had to reopen the camera. We had to reopen the phone, connect the camera, and then it has to stay shut. So I didn't do the tournaments. For today, the 5th. I want to make sure that is the 5th. It is the 4th. My apologies. Today we are reaching a pivotal point of the playthrough. Shield, Sword, Crown now have every single, and I do mean every single, diamond when it comes to the card slots. So now the card slots are done. So the card slots that are done, we're going to be using our diamond for cards. I got possibly 1 event, 2 event maybe, to buy cards, and then we'll be able to spend it on modules. So this is gonna be huge for Shield and Sword. So yeah, so I'm really excited about that. it's a huge news because we're moving forward. They're finally done with something. Now, of course, you know then they're gonna add another card slot just to piss us off. But still, other content with the crown. I'm realizing that my upkeep is so low. The crown, like I said, like the video that I did on the tower, the biggest mistake that I made on crown was how jack of all trades it is. So good at everything, great at nothing. So what we're doing with the crown right now is we're giving ourselves a little boost in the health. We're giving for ourselves a little boost in the shield. One thing I told you, the goal of the crown is super simple. The goal of the crown is to have enough stone to buy landmine. We're gonna be upgrading landmine and what it can do. Then we're gonna have black hole. I kind of changed my mind with black hole because now that they released the new inner landmine charge, I'm not sure landmine is the best. I have to check it. I'm just gonna check how much it costs. Right, elite cell we're doing so fucking good. So yeah, so I might just be doing that. Again, in the 12, we're gonna be spending on Power Stone. I've decided what I'm gonna do for Power Stone, and I would like your opinion, of course. So look at this ultimate weapon, inner landmine jump. It's 700. Inner landmine chrono jump. When an enemy is hit by inner landmine, the chart of the inner landmine is boosted by this lap time, the number of times the enemy has hit inner landmine. Damn, that's pretty good. That is pretty freaking good. So with this, with chrono field would be amazing. The shield is gonna be poison swamp. I want more radius. And I want more chance to open because of the stun. If it can stun, even if for a couple seconds, it will give me enough time to have a black hole or to have chrono field. So I think it's good. Now ultimately, the shield would have every single thing would point into either inner landmine or black hole. They're both my most used ultimate weapon. They're both my most upgraded ultimate weapon. Crown. Crown is special because Crown, Smart Missile is actually pretty good. I'm gonna check out what is now great. Like, they're all pretty freaking good. I would go possibly with a new one. What I would do is either a 4 spotlight, really put the spotlight, or I would buy another ultimate weapon. So the thing with ultimate weapon is I could have the ultimate weapon, all of it. What I would also freaking adore is that I think, and that was kind of the goal, the perspective from the beginning, I could be upgrading some ultimate weapon, but I really think I'm going to buy one. There is a very simple reason as to why. I only have to buy one more ultimate weapon, and then I'm going to have the perk, which is random ultimate weapon, and the only random is going to be the last one. So now I'm going to be in measure to have every single ultimate weapon, and it would be good for now. So that's Crown. That's Crown. First word for shield is gonna be Poison Swamp, like I said. For sword now, sword is a bit more complex. Sword is a lot more complex. A part of me wants to upgrade, really wants to upgrade Smart Missile. Smart Missile as to why. Smart Missile are really good. First of all, Smart Missile are also they're gonna have a huge radius. It is, the stronger I am, this sword is the strongest glitcher that I have. So of course this is good. And if I can have enough cooldown, it has a lot of range. However, I personally think I want to upgrade Chain Lightning. The reason as to upgrade Chain Lightning is actually quite simple. This playthrough I've been upgrading for the last, I think, almost, it's more than a month. Attack speed and range. Attack speed is at 67, range is at 69. It would be Chain Lightning. That would be the one. 29% chance on enemy hit to spawn 5 Chain Lightning, right? That would be amazing. 8.51 time. So the reason as to why we would do that is because I would like to have as much as possible. So see, the Smart Missile, in my opinion, is great, but doesn't touch enough. Now, the Chain Lightning is a risk. Otherwise, what would I have? I have the Spotlight, which serves next to no purpose right now, until we have our Smart Missile complete. We do have Death Wave. Death Wave is the only ultimate weapon I spend some stone in. And the Chain Lightning would be absolutely phenomenal. I'm telling you something, it would absolutely be phenomenal. Because, first of all, we have a lot of range. Second of all, we have a lot of attack speed. So it would activates so fucking often. However, there's a problem with Chain Lightning. The problem with Chain Lightning is if I don't kill them. See, the sword in itself is a glass cannon, so as long as I keep them out of this, I'm good. However, when they're in the zone, there's not much I can do, right? There's not much I can do. The Smart Missile would be nice too, I'm thinking, but I don't know. You see, just I'm hesitating between two. I'm hesitating between Smart Missile and Chain Lightning. To me, Chain Lightning is a no-brainer. Smart Missile is possibly a brainer. So let's go with the easiest choice. Also, like I said, I wasn't able to do tournament today. There's been a lot of change to the guild. The guild is more active. We're getting a bit more serious. So there's been so the problem. Okay, this was kind of to be expected. A lot of people are doing super good with the guilds. We have Moriarty that did 45 last week. Like for example, I'll show you. Right now we have Crouch. Right, we have we have Aeroclixman, Dart, Loading Dose, Carl, Orfeo. They all have 20. I'm the only one at 15, you know? And I'm the one at 15, and there's a couple at... this is not good. I would have to kick a couple people out. So because what ended up happening is a lot of people, and it's okay, it makes me kind of mad, but not really. So what sucks is that there's a lot of people that don't do shit. You can tell when they're connecting every single day, but you don't have points. So there's this guy that we had, Sea Turtle, that I had to kick out. And Sea Turtle, for 4 weeks, he joined 4 weeks ago, by the way, was playing every single day. And you could tell that he was logging in every single day. And he was contributing 5 points every single week. And that's just not fair. And then we're kicking him out. Then we decided that the 7 days is the cutoff, so we're gonna have to lose 2 members, which is gonna put us at 26. So I don't know how I feel about that, but hey, that's what we decided. And it's like because some of the people I don't want to kick, and some people they just told me like, hey, literally, I'm gonna go on vacation, right? So like fuck. But again, I'm sure that because Fuzz are already explained in the last update. He was like, yo, the guilds are going to be improved, don't worry about it. So yeah, that's pretty much it. So I'm looking forward to it. To be completely honest, I'm really excited about this because it feels weird. It feels weird how fast this is going. Crown, there's not going to be an update for at least 4 months, don't worry. But Shield just passed Sword, so that's always been better. I have a small preference for Shield because I just like the way the black hole look, the Poison Swamp. The Shield felt more strategic, but it's more simple. However, the Sword with the Chain Lightning, I'm thinking maybe I'm fucking wrong. I don't know if I'm wrong, but maybe I'm wrong. If it works the way I want, it's because it's the Chain Lightning. I want to have more chances. So if every single projectile that I have, if every single 3 projectile that I have a Chain Lightning, it's gonna be crazy because they're not even gonna get close to me, you know. And then we're gonna have the Smart Missile, and what it would be phenomenal would be the Chain Lightning. So this is the real plan, right? I didn't want to talk about it too much because I don't want to make this video too long. But this is basically it. So then, what I really like about the Death Wave is how it takes care of every small enemies. The boss comes in, and the elite comes in, that's pretty much it. The rest, they're all destroyed by Death Wave. What I would like to do is for this Chain Lightning to take care of every single small one. And then for the Death Wave to get the other one, for the Smart Missile to focus on the bigger one. See, one of the best module for Sword would be the one where it says that the Spotlight, they're all homing in on the boss. Which sucks because if it's not a boss, if it's an elite that kills you, what's the point, right? So yeah, so we'll see how it goes. Why am I excited? Because Sword might be stronger than Shield. And it's back to balance. But then, again, Shield is, it's complex. Shield isn't supposed to be strong, it's supposed to resist. It's not supposed to be strong, and it is strong. But at the same time, it gets so much better. Once I'm done upgrading the Poison Swamp, I'm gonna go to Chrono Field. Chrono Field, I've been checking it, and although it would be more effective if there wasn't Darkhold, what can I do? Because Chronofield would take the whole map before they even go into the black hole. And this would be constant black hole. So even though my black hole isn't there, Chronofield will slow them down. That is pretty much it, you know? Anyway, long story short, this is it. Love you guys. Take it easy. Peace. I hope I'm sorry. Again, the eat. It's the season 1. Don't blink, it's your boy. Welcome to the video what you were waiting for. A lot of you guys were demanding this video. I promised you guys a while ago I was gonna do it. Today's finally the day. Today we're doing a review, a by memory review of Kenny vs. Penny. As I told you guys, I know the show by heart. So this is gonna be extremely simple for me. We're starting with season 1. Now, here's the thing, okay? I'll be very honest. This is not the way to start it, but I don't give a fuck. We're recapping and reviewing. So what I'm gonna do is every single episode, we'll talk about the episode, my favorite moments, how it went. Do the whole recap, symbolize, and do a couple minutes. Now, here's the thing. Season 1 has 26 episodes. Season 2 has 6 episodes. So season 1, we're gonna be doing a rapid fire. So it's gonna be a couple minutes per episode versus season 2 where I'm gonna take my time, and ultimately speaking, you're gonna be able to tell how much I like the episode by how much I talk about it. If I talk a lot about it, I liked it. If I don't talk a lot about it, I didn't like it. As simple as this. So without further ado, I'm gonna go on Wikipedia because this is a reliable source. And it's a Canadian reliable source. And we're gonna go on Kenny versus, they're not even Penny there. Versus Sammy. Kenny versus Penny wiki. There you go. Kenny versus Penny, you got the show. This is extremely perfect. Extremely perfect. Now, before we start, I feel like there's 2 things we have to talk about. I'm gonna be cheating. So by cheating, I mean very, very simple. It's not gonna be a big cheat. I know the episode by heart. I am gonna refer to the Wikipedia page for the title of the show. The title of the show is gonna be super simple. I also will be referring to this. So if you go on YouTube, right, Kenny, it's not his fault, but the show was taken off YouTube so often that he stopped giving a fuck. He stopped putting the season, he stopped putting the name of the show, he just put in a small name. So what you're gonna do, you're gonna go on YouTube and you're gonna go Kenny vs. Penny season 1. There's gonna be all key VS episode in one place, the channel. Shout out. And you're gonna have season 1, which is 9 hours. Season 2, which is 4 hours 56. Season 3, 4 hours 52. Season 4, 340. Season 5, 341. Season 6, 6 hours. So pretty simple, yeah. Sounds good. Sounds great. So I'm gonna be using these 2 tools. So it's not a blind review, but it is a blind review. Now, people will say, bro, when's the last time that you watched the show? I watched the show, so it's kind of funny. The last time I watched the show, this is crazy. I watched the show, and I know it so much that I went on YouTube, and I found an audio-only version of this. And it was black screen, so we just went in. And I watched them, and then I did a review. So now we're gonna be checking. Before we start, you know what? We're on Wikipedia. Let's fucking go. Kenny vs. Penny is a Canadian reality comedy television series starring Kenny Haas, Spencer Rice. When they face against each other in competition, the loser of each perform an humiliation, usually selected by the winner. Alton writes recreated the theory in addition to serving executive producer, was typically shot in their hometown of Toronto, based mostly out of the house they share. The pilot was filmed in Los Angeles. Yes, because they went to LA to shoot for pitch. There's this, but there's also the fact that what do I want to say? Oh yeah, so the humiliation is the important part. So for Kenny, the winner is no humiliation, and for Spenny, the winner is the winner. So it's up to you to decide who is right. I believe that if you don't get humiliating is the real loss here. Humiliation. As of November 2008, the show aired on CBC, Global, and Showcase in Canada. I watched it on Showcase because I did just do the video talking about why I'm not going to repeat myself. This video is 40 minutes long, so already this is going to be a long video, so sit down, grab a drink, grab a joint, let's have some fun. It's in Sweden, Netherlands. It's not important. FX, not important. Sweden was nominated. Okay, this is not important. Okay, well, kind of important because this is how far the series went. The series was nominated for the Canadian Comedy Award in 2010, 2011, and for Germany Award in 2005, 2006, 2008. In the Best Canadian Comedy Series and received a Rose d'Or nomination in Switzerland. Best International Comedy Series. It was huge in Germany, and Germany was huge. And the show was on several replicas of its format, including family-friendly French-Canadian version called Frank vs. Gerard. I used to watch that shit. What got me into Kenny vs. Penny was Frank vs. Gerard. On Rock TV. Ed and Spencer in the United Kingdom, Joan and Roman in Colombia, Elton vs. Simon in Germany, Katja vs. Bridget, Dennis vs. Valerio in Netherlands. So the funniest thing is, if you watch the podcast, he talk about how Colombia was crazy. Colombia, the audition to find her Kenny versus Penny, it was really cool. But you see, as a trick, they directed the show. They were involved in the other. They were involved. Now, after a couple of years, it was revealed that Kenny was a lot more involved with the production, was a lot more involved with the behind-the-scene process of it than Spenny. But hey, we're also playing the towers. That's why you're seeing me push a lot. I'm gonna wait until the fucking motorcycle go. The motorcycle, I love you, but not this one because it's being loud. I'm trying to film. Oh, he's just chilling. Okay, that's cool. Very nice, thank you. So premises. There's 86 episodes. I said 89, but I didn't say 86. Premise. Kenneth, Kenny, Joel, and Spencer are two childhood best friends who compete against each other in a series of competition. The loser... Good job, small penis. The loser of each competition must suffer an humiliation chosen by the winner. The show comedy depended on the polarizing personality of Austin Wright, respectively extroverted and neurotic. I like that they say extroverted as a positive and neurotic as a negative for Spencer. Fuck you, Spencer. Oh, I'm a Kenny fan, by the way. Before we even start, I'm a Kenny fan. Fuck you, Spencer. Austin embraced devious tactics. The show and often cheated, found loophole in the rules of the competition, intimidated Rice with insults, elaborate scheme and manipulation. Contrast, Rice rarely cheated and tried to compete honestly. He felt he could retain something in TV, promote awareness of social or political issues. I don't care. Common strategy used for Common Rice. Holy shit, there's a lot of it. There's a lot of it. You know what? That could be a nice intro. Let's read the showcase. Let's read that, right? And then we'll start with the season. We'll do another video. You guys don't mind, right? Common strategy used by Austin Rice. Rules. Repeating trend in the show progress without cheating is tolerated as long as the person is not caught. Eventually becoming an unspoken rule, much of the chagrin of Spenny. Yeah, because Spenny not being involved in the production, right? As we just mentioned, Kenny was cheating, and he was editing the tape. So if Spenny wanted to see the tape, he edited them out. Part of the drama involved the multiple instances in which Kenny and Spenny argue about what the nature of the show should actually be. Spenny has argued that the point of the competition is to find out who is the better man, and that while Kenny at times managed to genuinely outsmart Spenny, the moment in which he goes for the blind rule the purpose of the show. On the other hand, Kenny holds less value in the sanctity of his competition, barely stating that the reason they compete is to humiliate each other. So the purpose of the show was the real thing. It's like, what are we doing a show for competition, or are we doing a show to humiliate if we lose? Ultimately, it becomes clear that the perspective of the nature of the show should be motivated by creating a playing field that is biased towards collective trash strength. Any approach that's problem solving is to think outside of the box, and a clever workaround, I love that, thus causing him to prefer rules that are minimal and vague. Finny, on the other hand, prefer rules that are concrete, and to employ admirable if reductive strategy. Okay, a bit of kissing ass of Spenny. Cheating. Us cheating during 27 of the 56 of his victory, while Rice cheated during 5 of his 27 victories. In some cases, both Rice and Oz were helped by their production crews, family and friend in their attempt to cheat, while Rice would cheat out of desperation. Oz tried cheating by arguing the losers with whoever does a humiliation. I agree with that. It's funny that they considered the use of family and friends to be cheated. And so Alt regularly tried to make Rice annoyed during competition so he would lose focus. Exactly. That's why he was doing it. It wasn't to piss off people think he was an asshole. No. He was just doing mind games. Alt regularly joked that Rice had a violent, emotional, disturbed man with a micro penis. That he engaged in rape, pedophilia, necrophilia, zoophilia, and incest. That he was racist and anti-Semite and related to Adolf Hitler. The Rice family were often the victim of Alt's insult and jokes. Alt regularly joked about having sex with Rice's mother, accused her of being sexually promiscuous and morbidly obese. Okay, I shouldn't laugh, but it's kind of funny because she's not. If you see Corinne during the show, and she's not. Corinne, if anything, is a woman that lived. How can I describe Corinne? I think Corinne. It's okay. So now this is gonna be a bit psychological. It's hard to talk about Corinne because Corinne is often portrayed by Spenny and by Kenny. Kenny treats her like a whore, and Spenny said that she's a saint. So you have two unreliable narrators. Do I think she's a whore? No. Do I think she's a saint? No. I think she's a person that has certain version of respect, of priorities at least. But ultimately speaking, I think that Corinne is more so. How can I say that without being impolite or an asshole? I think that Corinne. See, the reason why we're talking about that is because it does play in the game. So, for example, with Kenny, Safi, she's rough, she's strict, but she's also like a really good person. And Kenny is a really good person. Miriam, she's the younger sister who constantly being bullied. So it's amazing. Miriam, so it's most likely how they treat Kenny or how they treat Spenny. Miriam is a younger sister. I love Miriam. She's super cool. Miriam is a younger sister who was constantly bullied by Kenny and by Ronnie, but more so by Kenny. And she grew up understanding. She grew up and she understood that Kenny was just trying to be like a typical brother, and he was trying to prepare her. And when shit hits the fan, Kenny is the first one to have her back. You know, you have Ronnie. Ronnie is, and that's a really sad story. So the father of Kenny, Jack Otts, died really young. Well, no, that's not true. Okay, so Jack had Kenny when he was very old. So Jack died when Kenny was still young. Miriam was younger, I think. I don't remember what. I remember Miriam being very young. So then, because the man of the house was gone and Safi had to take care of the 3 kids, Ronnie came out and he was going to school. He was trying to be a doctor. So Ronnie is the classical older brother that has to solve shit because nobody else would solve shit. So think about Big Bang Theory, Georgie Cooper, the brother of Sheldon, or think about anything at all. So yeah, so this is pretty sad. Corinne. Okay, I think that's it. Okay, perfect. I'm gonna put it like that. I believe Corinne is extremely worried about how she looks, but not really worried about what she does. So, for example, in episode 3 of season 1, Spencer say, "Hey, Ma, I'm thinking about cheating." Well, what would you say? She said, "Well, I'm not okay with cheating, but he cheated every single competition, so you're kind of justified to do it." Yeah. So she's more I don't know. I don't know. Corinne's a hard character because we know so little of her, and it's kind of sad because when Kenny had the contract for Kenny vs. Penny, he was very, very happy, and he shared with his family. His family were involved. There's so many competition, and it doesn't seem like it. There's so many competition with when there's Miriam. There's so many competition where there's Safi. There's not a lot of competition when Ronnie is there, but Ronnie's a doctor, so you know. But he involves his parents and he involves his sister, you know, which is super important. Corinne, the second that you, I think you never see her that is not blurred. Okay, cool. I think deception and intimidation. Kane's main tactic was to deceive Rice. Oh shit. The girl I have a crush on is texting me. And because she texted me, I was looking at my phone. And because I looked at my phone, I realized that the camera was gone. I'm not going to be able to do season 1 because I was 18 batteries and the storage is a bit low. Okay, so which one here? So I can't tell you about what it's saying because this is much later and this is completely it's completely spoiler. They talk about the AIDS and they talk about the LSD. Sometimes invented comedic characters in dressing costumes to entertain the viewer and crew while antagonizing Rice. As example, Arts arrest Rice as Silencio. See, this is, I don't know how I feel about that because Kenny making characters, yes, is to entertain the crew, but if you look at, I was talking about the 10 Mile Race. The 10 Mile Race is a episode that is good, but when you hear, so the main thing is Kenny pretend like his mother's dead. You hear Spenny talking about how when he was younger, his mom used to bend him because he was so flexible. Nobody gives a shit, you know. Sometimes invented comedic, okay. Where John White jumpsuit and Lucha Libre style mask and who can stay blind for the longest. One of my favorites. Season 1 is weird because season 1 is boring. Season 1 is more classical TV. But there are some golden nuggets. Silencio is one of them. Rice often lost competition because his paranoia made him sabotage his own effort. And who can kiss more women? Yes. Okay, so this I cannot say. Who can blow the biggest fart? I cannot say. Also, did not know, okay. Also, the chili, okay. Okay, I cannot talk about this. I cannot talk about that. But basically, it is true. Like, for example, there's a competition where Kenny, he pretends like he's not going to compete, and because he's not going to compete, Spenny doesn't want to win because of the other one surrender. He wants to win because he fought. So then he showed with the competition. Involvement of the production crew. I feel like it's more so Kenny in this one because ultimately speaking, the only one that gave a shit about Penny was, well, that's not true. The only one that gave a shit about Penny was possibly Brian. I would say Donnie too. Donnie for sure. And Kenny, he had Sebi, he had Jamie. The problem with Sebi and Jamie was they were friends. So Kenny, when he had the plan, he was like, okay, well, I met those people, they can work for me, they can help me out. Spenny was like, I want a crew that's not my friends. Right? My apologies. Broadcasting. I'm just gonna be, oh, that's super nice. I'm just gonna be talking about, production. Which one? Oh yeah, involvement of production crew, that's it. Both Alt and Rise had their production crew get props and equipment and get involved with IG. Rise had admitted an interview following the show and he agreed to let Alt and the crew got fired against him in exchange for deciding each competition rules. Okay. So basically he gets to see what's the rule and then you can cheat. The weird thing about Kenny vs. Penny is, yes, Kenny cheated in most competition, if not most, enough every single one of them. However, there's a however that's super important. However, there has to be a part of Penny that understand that the reason the show is still going on is because it's popular. And because it's still popular is because of Kenny, not because of him. I'm not saying that Spenny isn't capable of being entertaining. I'm just saying that in this peculiar, and this very peculiar sense, he isn't entertaining. It's not okay. How can I say this? I wouldn't say Spenny is not entertaining, right? Spenny is entertaining, but Spenny is entertaining in a sense of this is a competition show. There's competition, there's compete. Kenny is entertaining in a sense of my apologies. Sorry about this. I had to go bathroom. It was an emergency. I'm gonna be finishing this video really soon because my batteries are low, and I'm tired, so I'm gonna go sleep. So yeah. Okay. Production. We were where? Okay. Soundman Brandon Mishi is in unit coordinator Jamie Tierney. Refrain production crew member who helped us. Michi used his skill as a pianist. I like Brandon. I like Brandon a lot. He's a saxophone player to compose songs for us. My favorite moments with Brandon is possibly writing the song of "Don't Forget the Children," which is who can have the better concert. He was often an active participant in Offland, and who can wear the gorilla suit the longest. And Safi wore gorilla costumes to confuse Rice. Oh, that's a spoiler, sorry. But it's only season 6, which I'm not going to do before. I might be doing the whole show tomorrow. I don't know. Basically relied on his unit coordinator, Donnie Rose, to help transform strategy, stop Oz from cheating, and or foil Oz's attempt to make Rice lose. Oz fired Rose after 2 seasons because he felt he was giving too much help to Rice. That's not true. Spencer, well, okay, so it's complex. Spencer fired Donnie. right? But it's not clear if it was because, it's not clear because if it was because Kenny told him to, or it's because he decided to. During the first one, yeah, I gotta talk about that. Rice also had production assistant Brian Pico, and he comes in there Kevin Morgan, Kevin, right? Okay, so Bryce, Brian Pico, which was a friend of Kenny. Oh, for fuck's sakes. It's too hot. I don't know how it's too hot, but it's too hot. Faulty equipment. It's okay. I got how many percent batteries left? I don't care about this. Oh my god. Oh my god, I'm so sorry guys. Fuck. It's stupid. The phone overheats, that's it. And I only have a couple minutes left, but we have 11%, so let's finish this shit. I wanna go to sleep, I'm tired, let's fucking go. The crew were often used to disrupt competition. Yeah, okay, so Brian was a friend of Kenny, and Kevin was I actually like Kevin. He's actually cool. But we don't see him in that. You see, Brian was on the podcast of Kenny. Sebi's still in the video when he does commentary. Kenny Haas, Brendan. I don't know what happened with Brendan, but I'm sure he's doing well because he's super talented. The crew were often used to disrupt competition, act as judge and settle dispute over rules. The production crew and the other people. Okay, I cannot tell. In case where both Rice and Oates failed to win a competition, the crew chose the double elimination for them. Both Oates and Rice had a take. Okay, I'm not gonna say that because this is spoiler. This is spoiler. Production. Starting with the fourth season, Kenny and Finney were both executive producer, and received credits separate from 5 other executive producer. Masson and Trey Parker behind South Park, you guys know. Masson and Trey Parker were humongous when it came to Kenny vs. Penny. Masson and Trey Parker fought for Kenny vs. Penny to be on Comedy Central. Comedy Central was the real outbreak for the boys. Before that, nobody cared about Kenny versus Penny. Nobody cared about it. So, but that we have this is actually quite important. Yep. I'm sweating. It's really hot. It's like 30 degrees outside. Giving their own spirit care, okay, for example, instruments, use Charles built by composer Richard Pelly, okay, so that we don't really care. Kenny and Penny each had their production assistant, camera operator, sound engineer, who filmed their independent exploits for each episode. In the early season, the crew was shared between Kenny and Penny crew member, eventually split up into two teams, some joining Kenny's side and others joining Penny. Then industry started podcast, and during industry started podcasts, Kenny said that the series had a budget of 100,000 Canadian dollars per episode for the first season and 350,000 Canadian dollars per episode thereafter. So that's a lot of cash. And there you go. Tomorrow, because I'm tired, let's go sleep. Tomorrow we're gonna be checking out first season. I'm possibly gonna be doing first season. So the thing is, the show is 86 episodes. The first season is 26 episodes, which means 2 to 6 is 2 to 6 is 2 to 6 is, well, there's a Christmas special that's 87. 2 to 6 is, I cannot do math. It's 61 episode. 2 to 6 is 4, 5, 6, 5. So 61 divided by 5, that's about 12. Yeah, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm tired. Let me go to sleep. Love you guys. Take it easy. Peace. Wake me up when September ends.